Around 410 years ago, in the May of 1609, nine vessels, that is, nine ships, under the leadership of Sir George Somers, had set out for the newly founded colony of Virginia from England with provisions for settlement of around 500 peoples. As many people were there. Now on the 25th of May, a huge storm separated one ship called the Sea Adventures from the rest, which finally the separated ship wrecked on the Bermuda Islands, on the coast of the Bermuda Islands. And of course, many of them survives, and later they could complete their journey. In 1611, we get The Tempest by Shakespeare, which these days, is more looked at as a post-colonial text. That's why I gave this 1 minute background. Perhaps you haven't heard about it, or you were not aware of it. Though post-colonial text, Hamlet is a post-colonial text, has gone so much coinage now that it is now almost outdated. Anyway, Tempest as a post-colonial text creates a lot of confusion among the minds of students, because primarily they relate post-colonialism with after colonialism or after colonization, like post-independence. As I have clarified in my talk on post-colonialism, that for last 20 years or so, we regard post-colonialism as an engagement with the politics and cultural politics of colonialism right from the onset of colonialism, not after the end of colonialism. So that way, Tempest very much, or The Tempest is very much a post-colonial text. Please do not forget, during the reign of Queen Elizabeth, 31st December of 1599, that is the last day of the last year of the century, 16th century, East India Company also had got charter or permission to do trading in the East, in the Orient. Anyway, so colonial atmosphere was very much there. But for a long time, before the advent of critical theory, post-colonialism, Marxist studies, new historicism, Shakespeare was read in the liberal humanist tradition, as we call it now. It's all talk about love, death, tragedy, beauty, all on a personal level and then universalized. Like Hamlet's problems are our problems, Lear's tragedy is our tragedy. All successful love stories are of, this very famous Romeo Juliet story. Of course, many Bollywood films also were made on the basis of this, and all successful love stories are like that of Bassanio and Portia, or of Prospero and Miranda, which is part of The Tempest. Now, Shakespeare is undoubtedly a genius. He incorporates in the text a critique of colonialism, even when colonialism itself has not started properly. To slightly contradict myself, it started, but it was not the high tide of colonialism. But there in The Tempest, we get the character called Caliban, who was replaced by, that is, the right Duke of Milan, okay, who was banished from his kingdom by his younger brother. Now, his name is Prospero, synonymous with Prosperous. Prospero and his very young daughter Miranda came floating to this island, and then, with the help of some trusted friends, especially Gonzalo, whom we meet later in the text. Now, what happens in the bargain is that our sympathy generally lies with Prospero, not so much with Caliban. But this was brought to the fore by post-colonial studies. Before the advent of post-colonial studies, the dominant reading available was one by Frank Kermode, in himself a great critic. Frank Kermode's this classic Arden edition of the Tempest talk about two magics. The Tempest is a fight between two magics, that is Prospero's white magic and Caliban's mother, that is Sycorax's black magic, and showing Prospero as winner. So the good as winner over the evil. That good is white, evil is black. Relate to George Floyd's murder, I should say, now in this current protest. So this kind of racist reading in the name of aesthetics, beauty, and going on, and we all too. However, Shakespeare had also included Caliban as a defiant anti-hero, but today we can say hero. What is Caliban's stake? Prospero had employed him in different kinds of works, and then he said, no, you took this island away by force from my mother Sycorax, who was the rightful owner of this island. So is not it colonialism, a white man coming, though himself an exile? In this point I am reminded of Said's theory of exile, on which I have spoken in another video. The worst kind of exile is possibly to have been exiled by another exile, just as he speaks in the context of the Palestinians' plight at the hands of the Jews. Jews were exiles once, but they now are exiling the Palestinians. Similarly, the right Duke of Milan, Prospero, is an exile. He is banished from his kingdom by his conspiring younger brothers. Brotherhood is not very sacred in Shakespeare, possibly not in society also. Look at the Mahabharata war between brothers. In Ramayana is slightly less, but on the other hand, Vibhishan, Ravan, etc. So sibling rivalry, we have a term in behavioral psychology. Anyway, so the Prospero, with the help of his magic, finally catches all those opponents who were on a sea ride years later when Miranda is grown up, etc. etc. His daughter fall in love with the promising young prince. Ferdinand Miranda love story, beautiful, but our focus is on something ugly today, which is not so beautiful, that is Caliban. Caliban has been taught by Prospero different things. He teaches Miranda also. Once he says, in this island where I, the schoolmaster, made the more profit, that is, I taught you all the more things that any teacher could have taught in a civilized world, because they are in a almost uninhabited island. Only two men, Prospero and Miranda, one man and a woman. Caliban is not given the human status. So, demon. So, and then that's why in post-colonialism we call it a Caliban paradigm, when we try to destroy English. In fact, I have been doing it also endlessly. I once was enamored of speaking in the British way, learning this received pronunciation and all that. After reading Caliban paradigm, I left it. To you, those of you who are targeting call center jobs and all, you may not do it. Anyway, so Caliban was taught language, that is, he had no language. That means the language he had was not recognized as language by colonizers like Prospero. So just as we have English, and now there is internal imperialism of some other languages, anyway, but English. So at one point Prospero says, when Ferdinand, Miranda, they tell him, Prospero and Miranda, especially Miranda, they tell him that when you did not know the meaning of your life, we gave meaning to you. This is the colonizer's claim, civilizing mission, that we give meaning to your life. You don't know who you are. Like man to woman, white to black, so colonizer to colonize, that binary, that hierarchy. We give you meaning. So then Caliban fitly replies that you taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. That is You taught me language, but I will use it to abuse you. In a way, those figures like Gandhi, Aurobindo, even Vivekananda, they were somewhat like Caliban in this regard. They used English to speak against English. Right now, Calibans are not dead, just as Prosperos are also alive. So currently, uh, I am very much shocked, pained, and aggrieved by the death of George Floyd in the hands of administration. Yes, it is true. Even in India or in other countries, such racist things happen once in a while, but then it is done by erring public. But if the administration, police is representative of the administration of a so-called, democratic country, who advises us every now and then about violation of this right in India or that right in India, how can they do this? So we must protest, and rereading Tempest in the post-colonial way is a part of the protest. Reading is an ethical act. Read and spread the knowledge. So you taught me language. My profit on it is I know how to curse. Even the original settlement, what I was talking about, the ships they were going to colonize this Virginia and other things in the United States. So the histories are connected, as you know. This so-called Puritan forefathers, our Puritan fathers, they set out from England with sword in one hand and by the Bible in the other to convert people and settle in different parts of the world, especially America. So the America, then Africa, are at the receiving end. We in India had shown great resistance. Though we have been colonized, but we have somehow hybridized it and all that. So we have not been thoroughly transformed. But in other places it was terrible. Now resistances are there. It's good. So we should talk back. The empire writes back, talks back, etc. So reread Tempest with this current incident in mind. Thank you.